Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for a special edition of Deborah Kobylt Live. Two exciting guests in studio with me today. We've got Kristina Ortega. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
You are a graduate of the Upward Bound House program. You're a mom of four, and boy, what a story you've got to tell us. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Laura Anderson, Director of Donor Relations over at Upward Bound House. Thanks for joining us. And because you were a very last minute person, so thank you.
Yeah,
because
thanks
I
for
know
having me.
Lisa Elson was going to be here and she wasn't feeling well. So we said, you guys just found, got it together very quickly. So I appreciate it
No
very,
problem.
very much.
Thank you.
Upward Bound House, you're having a 5K race this weekend.
Yes.
Over in the Brentwood area on San Vicente Boulevard. I've attended that many, many times to raise money for all the work that you do over at Upward Bound House.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So this Sunday, on February 9th, we have our Home Run for Kids event, which is a fundraiser for Upward Bound House. We will be having registration opens at 7 a.m. We have some really fun events going on at 8:30. We have Dion Jackson, who is a professional celebrity trainer who's coming out to warm up everybody to get them ready for the 5K.
I could use that. Okay.
Yeah, he's super fun. A lot of energy. And then we start the 5K at 9 o'clock. We have a Kitty K at 10 o'clock.
A lot of fun. It's a super, super cool family event. There's all these little restaurants lining San Vicente Boulevard. You can go and have a cup of coffee, whatever. It's a great thing to do to raise money for Upward Bound House.
Yes.
Why don't you briefly tell me what is Upward Bound House? Then we're going to talk to you, Kristina, about your experience there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, so Upward Bound House, our mission is to eliminate homelessness amongst families. So we primarily deal with families. We have a apartment shelter in Santa Monica. We have a converted motel shelter in Culver City. And then we have 6 shelters in South Los Angeles.
Right. Let me be clear because I've been to the one in Santa Monica.
Yes.
It is a lovely facility. It looks like a small apartment. It
Yes.
just fits right in with the communities because a lot of people are really concerned when you say, wait a minute, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It is lovely. And the services you provide are outstanding. Now,
Yes.
Kristina, you are a mom of 4.
Yes.
And we spoke over the phone, and your journey is incredible. Currently, what you're doing, you are a nurse manager over at Healthcare Partners.
Yes, I am.
And Upward Bound really helped you get it together because at one point you were homeless with 4 kids in the car, right?
Yes. And the instability of trying to find a job is very overwhelming when you're just trying to make it every day, and comfort your kids in that type of situation.
How did you get to the point where you were homeless with 4 kids in the car? Those kids had to go to school. You had to eat. What were the circumstances that drove you there?
I think it was after the counseling I received at Upper Bound House. I think it goes back to being brought up. You take care of as a woman, you take care of your family, you take care of your husband, and you take care of your husband, and that's kind of where it happened. Trying to take care of my husband, thinking to take care of my family, and he kind of let us down. And I take a blame for that because I allowed him to let us down. And so we ended up in our car. Food banks, collecting cans from the gas stations in the fields and all that kind of thing just to make it. The kids had to stay at school a little later in the library so that they could, not sit in the car right after school until the next day. We all couldn't fit in the car. 6 people in a little Volkswagen, GTI.
I can't believe that. Did they ever fight, scream? Were they angry? Sleep on top of the car? I mean, that's just, I can't imagine squeezing everyone in. You're eating, you're breathing, you're doing your schoolwork and preparing to go to work. I mean, if you were working at the time,
well,
how do you do that?
Initially, they fought, but then I think they just wore themselves out. I mean, that it's a psychological situation where you just can't imagine. I didn't know how bad it got for them either until I got back to Upper Bound House, actually.
How did you make it over? It's okay. At one point, you sort of tossed your husband out of the car, right? So
Yes.
what happened? So you had about had it. You started to eliminate.
And then from the church, getting from the food bank, I heard about Upper Bound House, and I went down to Upper Bound House, and I was in the desert. So I drove down to Santa Monica and met everyone, filled out the papers. I was eligible. We were there pretty much the same day. They had an apartment open, and we were in there the same day.
So
same
you
night.
and your 4 children moved into Upward Bound House, and then what? What was the process while you were there? How did they help you get off the streets and feel good enough about yourself to get sustainable work, get an apartment, that's a long road.
No, it is. I believe that first night being able to be in a bed and lock the door and have running water. Everybody had bath that night.
Wow.
We laughed. Actually, I had to tell a story too about this, but I had never realized that my kids had stopped belly laughing, like really laughing. And the night we did. And then Upper Bound House, they have a schedule where they have kids nights, they have women's night, they have workout night. They bring a trainer in for all the, women and the men, I guess, that we can go and work out. And those things kind of brought out, I mean, my kids will go to school and they're my 5-year-old will go, is it kids night? Is it kid night? Because they would come and bring little snacks. And I mean, it was playing on the playground. And I mean, it was just a different experience. You forget, well, I forgot that those are the things that I used to do. But I just couldn't even imagine it when we were in the car or on the street, that I couldn't even imagine having fun. It was so many other things that were more daunting than to think, oh, let's go and hang out at the park, because technically we were at the park.
Yeah, look at you laughing. I mean, I can't imagine your mother, and thinking to yourself, how am I going to ever get out of this? And Upward Bound helped get you out of this.
At the time, you don't think you're going to get out of it.
Really?
In Upper Bound, they do help you. They provide the employment resources. I'm a licensed nurse, so my license expired, and as I told you last night, I mean, I was at the brink of having to lose my license totally. They helped renew my license. They gave me clothes for my job interviews. Then when I obtained the job, I needed scrubs. They gave me the scrubs to get that. Glasses for my children. They provided resources for that. Legal aid so that I could divorce my alcoholic husband. Financial budgeting so that, even for me, I always was able to do that, but you forget those things when you're not using them all the time anymore. I mean, it almost felt like I had to relearn everything in order to take care of my family.
How do you vet people? Because you must have so many families that come to you, Laura, that need help. How do you, now I know that you have 3 facilities, right? In Los Angeles, you've got Santa Monica, Culver City, and downtown LA?
So it's kind of South LA.
More like mid-city LA, I suppose, South LA.
South LA,
How do you vet people? I know that you've helped over 7,000 homeless families.
Yes.
That's a lot. Since you
lot.
guys have been around since what, 91?
Yeah.
That's a lot of families.
That's a lot of families.
And we're talking husbands and wives, right? Not often just single mom, not often just moms, but husbands, wives, kids.
Yeah, we have like a single dad living with us right now. And so what we consider a family is an adult that has custody of a minor. So it could be a grandma that has custody of the kids. And but it's that whatever makes that family unit, which is great.
How do people make their way to you? How do you find them, and then how do you vet them to
So-
see if you're right for them, right?
Yeah, so LA is divided into service planning areas or spas. So for like the west side, everything is triaged through St. Joseph Center. So whether you're a family, whether you're a single adult, whether you're a teenager, you go there first. They'll kind of take down your information to do an intake with you, and then it was like Christina's family, they would call us and say, hey, we have a family that we think would be a good match for you.
How did you do? But did you start at St. Joseph's as well, Christina?
I went through them from another church up at a food bank up in the desert.
I mean, that's really nice to hear. That
Yes.
you did have to take that first step to at least go to a church and say, please help me. And nobody closed their doors. They made which I love, and they made the right calls. I mean, it's great to see how all the steps worked.
Yes.
Too often we hear about when they don't work.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
anyway.
and we get calls. I'm up at front near the reception area, so we get calls literally daily of people calling us directly, and then we have to refer them out. So
Is that how it works? Okay.
yeah, so just to hear the fact that we get that many calls a day is just mind-boggling to me.
How long are people usually there? Because again, your facility, because I've been there, and it's I don't even know where you have the families. It's such a quiet little place. I guess you must have them in the back. Am I right?
Well, I mean, I think there's kind of like education needed around too. I think people have this misnomer that most shelters are this one big room with bunk beds, and that's
Not
how
like
it
that
is.
there.
Yes, but
Yes.
I think it makes it very effective for people like they've gone through so much, and there's a lot of trauma. So like she said, she had her own 1-bedroom apartment.
Yes.
So in Santa Monica, we have 21 1-bedroom apartments. In Culver City, there's more of a studio style because it's a converted motel. So we have 18 15 units there. And then in South LA, we have duplexes. So each family has their own room again, and then they have the shared living space. So I think that makes such a big difference.
It does.
And
It
you get
really
to know
does.
each other as
It really
families
does.
too. So you've got mental health resources, you've got job resources, you've got counseling. That's a big part because, as you said,
Yes.
how did you get here? How did you allow yourself? How did we all allow ourselves
Yeah.
to get there and to listen to the story in our head, right?
Yes, I mean I'm educated, and I was taking care of my family prior to all of this, and it's like all of a sudden you wake up and you're sleeping in the car at the park. So it's like what happened? What did it? What happened?
Well, it's also, we've talked about this. It's very expensive to live in LA.
It's very
And you can be
expensive.
on a 2-income family and you still need more than one job each. And
Yes.
you're just working and if one thing goes wrong,
Yes.
you're out.
Yes.
It's easy to be out on the streets in LA. I get it.
And I just
Yes.
looked at the most recent statistics, and they're saying that like 71% of homelessness is now attributed to economics for the most part.
71?
71%. So
In
like
LA or everywhere?
LA, in
Yeah.
LA. So
They're
that's-
still
LA
working.
it's
It's like a
huge,
working poverty. I heard that on the news the other day.
Yeah.
What about, because in my community, I just drive up the street near the veterans, for example, and there's a good size encampment there, and there's enormous encampments everywhere throughout LA.
Right.
Oh, yes.
But those are more very severely drug addicted, right? And do you help those folks? Are you able to help those folks who come in your direction?
Well, I mean, we're considered a low barrier facility, which means because when someone's on the street and they have a drug addiction, there's no way they're going to get off of it on the street.
Right, exactly.
And again, we only deal with families, so we don't see as much of that.
I understand.
So like a lot of the single adults, and I think that's kind of where you see a lot more of the mental illness. You see more of the drug addiction.
Boy, if
Not
we
saying
don't-
it doesn't happen, but that's generally more where you see it.
We need more Upward Bound House kinds of facilities to help those folks.
Yes.
Yes.
Those
Agreed.
single men and women who are out there, unbearable amount of drug addiction. And I have no answers, but I know that it's not good for them and it's not good for us. It's not good for anybody.
Right,
Um,
right.
I don't know. But back to what
Yes,
you do for families.
Yes, yes.
So how long does it take, to really mentally help someone and get them strong enough to feel like they can get out on their own?
Well, I mean, I think what I like about Upward Bound House the most is that because we really look at the whole person. Because
Yeah.
we know homelessness is way bigger, like she even said. Sometimes it's bigger than just not having a home or not having a job. Because some people have jobs and they're falling into homelessness. And so it's really about the whole person. So like she said, we do budgeting. There's counseling services. There's tutoring for the kids if they need it. We make sure they're
Yes.
enrolled in a good school. And we work with the schools in the area where our facilities are to make sure kids are staying on point with their schoolwork as well.
Yes.
Wow.
So there's so it is a
Yes.
whole. It really is a whole person, and the thing also that's really great, they don't pay for anything while they're with us except for laundry. We have like
Yes,
a coin
yes.
coin operated laundry,
Yes.
and that is about it. So again, that's like they can really just concentrate on getting themselves back to where they need to be, so that we can get them back into a permanent home.
And then what
Yes.
happens? Like then how did you end up back into a permanent home after the counseling and after how did you do that? That must have been a scary experience.
It
right?
was. They have a different department, like for housing, for
Yeah.
permanent housing, and so they helped us get connected with an owner of a property, and so he rented to us, and they actually paid for our deposit and our first and last, and they paid
tell
a
you.
good amount, like 4 months, and then they start to step you down 25%, every other month. And
So we don't
that
throw them out
allows,
with
yes,
everything. Yeah,
Right, you
yeah.
and
help
that
them.
allows for
Yeah.
a stepping, like for a savings, and they also help with the savings program while you're there as well.
Yeah.
So that when you do move out, you still have your own money in addition to them paying for your security deposit and your first and last.
You know what I love about what you do?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Whatever dollar you make, it's going right toward the program.
Yes,
It is.
yes.
As opposed to layers and layers and layers of
Yes.
bureaucracy. You're very different in that
Yeah.
way.
It is.
And how many people are on staff, which includes volunteers there?
That's a good question. I think we have
Wow.
about 40 or 50 people that are on staff, but still we run very lean and mean. And I kind of
I'm gonna
give
say, for all the people you
Yeah.
help, that's something.
and I give kudos to our executive director because I think Christine, she really likes
Mm.
to make sure that the money is going back to our
Yes.
families and is being used to help them get back on track. So I really am proud of that part of our organization for sure. So
You would tell me that when you were in the car with your kids, that they had to stay late, as you said, at school, and sometimes you would just have them stay at different people's houses at
Yes.
night so you didn't get caught,
Yes,
right?
yes.
How was that? That must have been a fear in your gut.
It
You didn't want
was,
to
yes.
get caught.
Well, and then there's a misconception, I think, about homelessness. Like, we are uneducated and we're dirty and we don't want to do anything and we just want to sit in that car. And that's not the case. My kids get straight A's, especially with the tutoring. But I mean, they're smart kids.
What a
you know,
story for them when they're older.
Yeah, they might not tell it because of the stigma that goes along with it, though,
But
about
maybe-
being homeless. I mean, they could tell them, oh, my mom is so strong, all they want. But the homeless part might not come out so easily to certain people because it is still a stigma. Even for myself, I don't go around saying, oh, I was in the shelter last year and look where I'm at now. You know, I don't do that.
I hope it gets to the point where you could. Where, because
to
we've
certain
all
people,
had
yes.
very down moments in life, some homeless, some not, it's different circumstances.
But it's very hard. Some people are not caring. Some people do not really understand that it can happen. It can happen to anyone. It can happen at any time, anywhere. They don't really understand. I tell selective people, because I am proud of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm proud of where I've been and then now where I'm at. But it's still a stigma that goes along with it. And I'm like you. I hope it goes away pretty soon.
But you're in health services,
I am.
right? And when you see people come in, you probably are so able to help them even more so because of all you've been through, right?
Absolutely. And even prior, I mean, because I understood it could happen to anyone because of my healthcare experience. So I wasn't so hard on myself. But at the same time, I do understand that sometimes you just can't judge a book by its cover when they come in there and they need help.
All the different services you provide, do you source out for that?
And a lot of our things are internal. So we have internal employment department. We do have some counseling on site, but then anything that is needed, but we don't have, then we will partner with other agencies or other nonprofits.
Do you also partner with certain businesses? I know the girl who runs Lunch on Me. Have you ever heard of them? Lunch on Me. She was just running this out of her station wagon, and she started bringing lunches to people downtown LA.
Okay.
And then she grew and she got bigger and she started to partner. She's very savvy with social media, partnering with people like BuzzFeed and California, Cheesecake Factory and all kinds of businesses. And she would help provide jobs for the people on the street. And she would connect one with the other. She sort of started this by herself.
Yeah,
So-
and we're very lucky to have some really great
awesome.
corporate support. The
Right, that's
Rustic
what-
Canyon Restaurant Group is a big supporter of us, and we're so grateful for everything that they do for us. We have really good resources with some of the grocery stores, like Whole Foods has really been great to us. Trader Joe's, Vicente Foods, Ashley Furniture has provided a lot of mattresses for our family. So we have some really
Oh,
great,
beautiful.
we have some really
Yes.
great corporate partnerships that have been very helpful for
But
sure.
you probably always need more, right?
Of
For
course,
employment and wherever. So
definitely.
what do you need right now?
I think funding is always
Funding.
the biggest one because it just helps us be able to allocate where it's needed at the moment. Because
Yeah.
sometimes things change from month to month. We may need a lot of coats because it's winter, and then all of a sudden summer we
Yes.
don't need coats anymore, and everyone's cleaning out their closets. So it's not as
Right.
helpful. So so those needs change month to month. But I think just the funding is very helpful because then if we need more staff, we can bring those people on. And so then that's like the every single day person we have there that really kind of helps with the needs. And then we have all types of things. We have a really great aftercare program, which I'm very proud of, which we're trying to expand.
No.
So
What is that?
so that means when a family is in their permanent home, then we stay in contact with them for a good year, and they can have any
Yes.
type of resource that we have while they were with us. They can still utilize while they're in their first year, and so we're trying to really expand that part of it, which is called our stabilization team, to make sure that actually works better. So I think in 2018 we wanted 90% of our families still in housing a year after, and we had 95%.
Ooh,
So
that's
yeah,
amazing.
so that's like a
Awesome,
big key
yeah.
part. So I think if we can even expand that more, we hope the statistics will go
Yes.
up even more because it's way cheaper for us to keep people in housing than for them to fall back into homelessness and then start the whole process over again.
Yes.
So those type of things I think are very key to what we're doing.
Yeah,
So-
I like that. You follow through and then some.
Yes.
That's and you're right. It helps keep people off the streets.
Yeah.
And sometimes I imagine sometimes people might want to fall back a little bit. Can they reach back out to you and say, "Hey,
Yes.
we're struggling here"?
We even had, I think we just heard about a story recently where a family from several years ago, and their child was now going into college and needed help with books, and they reached out. So this was 7-8 years
Oh,
later.
awesome.
We're able to
Yes.
reach into a fund to help them pay for their books.
That's
so
beautiful.
yeah, it's just
awesome.
nice to know that we can continue the relationships, and hopefully we see them when Kristina comes back, we
yes.
come back for good reasons like
Yes,
this. You know what I mean?
yes.
Where we can do
Because it's a shock when you go back out there by yourself,
Oh, I can
especially for me, like being married for so long and then having to literally be a single mom all by myself, all out there. It's a shock. So no matter all the resources and the date planner I have, I'm probably gonna call you tomorrow. No.
You must be very proud of yourself, though. And I hope you are. I hope you are.
I am.
Because you're
Thank
a strong
you.
lady.
Thank
Anything
you.
you'd like to say before I let you go to Upward Bound, to other people who would be donating by seeing our program?
Well, every time I see Miss Laura, I want to thank them because I always say they saved my life. Because when you're in that situation, you can't you don't think to get out of it. You don't think of a way. I mean,
You're so
but
down.
where am I gonna get it? How am I gonna get it? So I want to say that you saved my life and my family's. And I think that anyone listening, or hopefully any of the donors that are listening, they know that they make a difference in so many lives. And they can make a difference in so many lives because those kids, if nothing else, I always tell them if it was just me, that's something. But those kids, the kids programs that you guys have, and the times that you give them, I think they'll be better humans when they grow up. So
And boy,
thank you.
can't
They
we all
really
use
do.
a little of that? I wish I had a tissue. We
You
need
you forget people actually care, and I think Upward Bound House, actually, even your staff, I think those people actually care. They're not just doing it, I don't know, just to have a job or whatever. They actually care about what we're going to do tomorrow.
I don't say this loosely, but when I walk into there, the one in St. Emma, I feel that. Absolutely.
Yes,
So
yes.
thank you for all the good work. Why don't you tell people how they can donate and also how they can still participate in the
Yes.
run, which really is fun. You've got all kinds of stuff for kids and families and just,
And
it's not even-
exercise.
exercise.
And it's the Oscars that day, so come out and get a workout.
Yeah,
Or
you're
you go
gonna
to the
feel-
Oscars that night if you're going, or you just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Everyone works out in the morning, I guess, before the.
Yeah,
It's
so tell
better,
us how
yes.
we can tell everyone how we can find you.
So you can go to www.homerunforkids.org,
Home Run for Kids.
and that's for the actual race. You can also go to our website directly, which is upwardboundhouse.org, and you can donate there if you'd like. And I am the one who gives the tours, so if anyone would like to come out to the facility and actually see what we do firsthand, I think that's even more compelling to see the great work that we do. When you see our facilities, you can meet some of the other staff members, and I'm always here just to answer questions if people need, any of those things answered. Another thing I think I'd spoken with you earlier about is that sometimes people just don't know what to do. So a great resource, if you see someone homeless or you know of a family or individual that's homeless, 211 is kind of like the 911 for homeless services. So you can call
211.
211, and
you got to be careful, right? Because you don't want to have families split up. You were saying that you made sure to stay in your car because you didn't want to get your family split up. So but yes, 211 if you see people really in
or
need
they can
there.
call themselves, and they will direct you to services too if people don't know where to go, and they're a really good resource for that as well.
Right.
So
thank you for all you do.
thank you so much.
Thank you
for
so
having
much, and I
us.
hope
Yeah.
that you raise some good money, not only at the race but just throughout the year. And it's well deserved.
Thank you.
And even maybe volunteers you're taking, whatever. But everybody, please, Home Run for Kids.
Yes.
That's the race on Sunday morning. It's early. I think it's 8:00, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And Upward Bound House, is it .com, .org?
.org.
Okay, upwardboundhouse.org. Thank you for all you
Yes.
do. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
I know it's your
having me.
lunchtime, so thank you.
Thank you
I
very
appreciate it.
much.
Thank you for making it over here.
Yes,
Sorry,
of
Lisa. I hope
course.
you feel better.
Thank you
And
so
thanks
much.
everybody for being here. Deborah Kobylt Live. I'm planning to be there on Sunday morning. I hope you'll all join me. Lisa promised everybody a cup of coffee. So
I'll be there.
we look forward to it very much. It's actually a really great event. So thank you for being with us here at Deborah Kobylt Live. You can find our show YouTube, Facebook, and then listen to it iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, and honestly, anywhere that you get your podcasts. Please come out and join us and donate, and have a great week. See you next time. Bye.